Hello, beautiful people. How are you all doing today? Sorry, I'm a bit late. I hadn't actually got the articles up and prepared already. And I also want to say that my internet has been very sketchy all day. Shut up. Not you guys, the phone that's telling me all sorts of stuff. It's telling me I've gone live. So, hi, Chris C. Lovely to see you. Sorry. So if it starts buffering and if it goes funny, I'm just going to log off for the day, guys. I'm not going to try again because it's actually been doing this for 2 days now. This is my internet at home. So it's a right pain in the arse. I do apologize if you lose me today. It is just shit. That's all I can say. So let's have a look who is in the chat. Hi, Diz, lovely to see you. And Chris C, couple of spanners there. Hi, blah, blah, lovely to see you. Hi, Draka, lovely to see you. And Alex, I'm sure, is there. Hi, Pete, lovely to see you. Hope everything went okay at the doctor's today. Let's see who else we have. Okay. Ooh, spooky, no one here. Yes, it's spooky. It's my life. My life's spooky. I had thought that we had lost Spike. He went on an adventure. But I found him. He was underneath the table, It's one of those leaf tables that I'm using for a desk because it's bigger than a desk. Because I've just got too much crap to go on it. And he was on here yesterday when I was recording because I know he was there because I saw it. So he must have decided to go for a little walk today, and he was underneath the middle bit of this has got cupboards on either side, so it's down to the grip. So he was hiding underneath there. Naughty little Spike. And of course, we've got Nessie as well for our Scottish supporters. Let's have a look. Have people seen Reform's proposals on how to support pubs today? Hell of an adventure. The poor guy's scared stiff. He is. He's scared soft because he's a plushie. So I haven't seen the. Let's have a Google. Let's see if it'll open on here. Something about the 2-child benefit cap. But anyway, I can't stand looking at his face, guys. He just makes me want to hurl. What is it I'm looking for? Reform pub thingy. I'll put thingy in. I'm sure that'll come up. Oh, pub rescue plan. Oh, wasn't it something about the 3 billion or something that they're going to give to pubs? Yes, okay. So actually, I will start with that article because Thanks, Chris. Thank you for that. I'm going to link this into the chat so you can. I hope I can read this because it's not behind a paywall. Oh no. It looks like I can read this whole article. I was going to read an article yesterday on one of my videos, and to a local rag workshop guardian, and unfortunately it wants $3.99 a month. I'm not paying $3.99 a month for a rag, not a chance. But that's coming up in a video, so I'm not going to talk about that. So there is the article that I'm going to be discussing about the reform policy, because I do have there is one thing that I want to discuss about the Epstein files, and I did watch Reagan Elites, most of it earlier on, while I was cooking my dinner and stuff and doing a bit of housework, and it just makes me want to be sick. The whole thing, it is just horrendous that people do these things, and there are people out there that like him, Epstein, that is, that think Epstein was a good guy. We'll get to that in a bit. What am I looking for? I've forgotten. Oh yes, buy me a coffee. I need to link that. Sorry, guys, because I've got it open on my other pewter, but not on this pewter. Please, what is it doing now? Log in. Yes. Sorry, guys, I'm so not organized today. Let me get this one up here so that I can see if I'm buffering, because I won't know if I'm buffering if I can't see it. So and that's taking its sweet time as well. And also the buffering thing, I noticed that the cats have been playing with the cables again, which is really annoying. Really, really annoying. What is that? I don't want the dashboard. I want that one. Sorry, guys. When it comes to technology, I am not the brightest candle on the cake. So bear with me as I do technology things. There we go. And I'm going to pin that to the top of the messages. So if any of you would like to support the channel, you are more than welcome to go and buy me a coffee at my Buy Me a Coffee link, as is pinned to the top of the chat box. And I'd just like to say as well, if you would like to chat and you are new to the channel, you will have to subscribe to the channel and then wait about a minute before you can comment. But I do want to say that I have some amazing mods in the chat tonight. And if you are a troll, and if you do speak nastily to the people in the chat, because this is an amazing community, you will be hammered by the spanners. Let's have a look. Okay, so Chris has put in some information in about the pub thingy. So I am going to go and read this article. Sorry, guys. I've just eaten my dinner. I had lamb steak. So nice. I haven't had lamb for years, but I did decide to spoil myself this weekend with it being in bulk. And blessed in bulk to all of you who celebrated or who didn't celebrate. It doesn't matter. It's officially the 1st of spring, or the 1st of spring on February. So that's all really good. That the days are starting to get a bit longer, although today was miserable and it was freezing when I was running. Absolutely freezing when I was running today. But I did 5K, very slow, not as fast as I wanted to. But then again, when you're breathing in that cold air, it does affect your lungs a little bit, but mustn't moan. Tomorrow, I'm hoping to do some hill work and some distance because it doesn't look like it's going to rain tomorrow, but it does look like it's going to rain on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if I can get my big runs done, I will be happy. So coming to the article, someone wants to tell the weather. Oh, you saw snowdrops today. Oh, brilliant, Diz. Absolutely brilliant. They're beautiful, aren't they? They're absolutely beautiful. They just bring me so much joy to see them, because they're that, you know, that days are going to get brighter again. So this article about the Reform UK sets out plan for pubs, including VAT cut and business rate abolition, is from the Morning Advertiser. So I did pop it into the chat so you can have a look at that. And this says they bring me joy too. You know, all flowers bring me joy, even weeds, apart from, I have to stress this because I don't like bitey plants. So nettles, unless they're girl nettles with the white flowers, they're okay. Thistles, sorry to my Scottish friends. I just, yeah. And goosegrass, don't like goosegrass because it sticks to absolutely everything and it just grows prolifically. Right, so here we go. This article is by Phoebe Fraser and it was updated today at 4:38 p.m. GMT. So I've hidden him behind. I wish that I had the technology so that you could see this article. I would hide the image of him from you guys, though, so you don't have to put up with him. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has set out a 5-point plan for pubs and the wider hospitality sector, including cuts to beer duty and VAT, the phased abolition of business rates and changes to energy and employment costs. So, in fact, let us do a poll. Let us do a poll. They are, Chris, they are beautiful to look at. The proper Scottish thistles, the one, you know, because I get those ridiculous ones that just sort of grow everywhere. The proper big thistles, like what little William Wallace gave to, I can't remember her name now, Mirren in Braveheart. He gave her that one that she pressed in the piece of material. He kept it, didn't he? He kept it, yeah. Those are beautiful. Those are beautiful, but they root. They root. They're like potatoes and like nettles. They root and they grow from the roots, which is not, so they're not just growing from the seeds. They spread. While you're shoving them up the arse, Chris, yeah, don't shove them up the arse. They're very spiky. Thistles are awesome. Yes, Pete, they are. You're not kink shaming. No, let's not kink shame, because, you know, people have their own kinks and everybody's entitled to it. In fact, it's really funny. I must tell you this because it's really funny. I saw a post on FaceCrack on one of these pages where I think it's goblin spotting or something or other. And it's like hot. It's like a load, you know, people put stuff on there just for shits and giggles. Anyway, it looks like a shower head. You're going to get where I'm coming from, but it's very sort of phallic in nature, and it's got the holes on the top for water to come out. And this picture was posted, and this woman saying, "I don't know what this is. I found it in my son's bathroom, and it smells awful." First of all, why is she smelling it? But obviously, it is for, you know, cleaning the bottom. You know. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You know, women and some men go to spas and things and pay an absolute fortune to have a, I can't think of the word now. It was there and it's gone. To have a cleanse, you know, to have a colon cleanse. They do. And I'm sure it feels a lot better afterwards. I wouldn't want one. Not my cup of tea. £10 a head in the florist. Jez, just go and pick them yourself. Okay. £10 a head. That's the big ones. Wow. That's pricey. That's pricey. They remind me of proteas, the South African flower. It's the South African national flower, which lasts for a very long time. While they're not beautiful to look at, they do have a certain charm to them. Hi, Kirsty. Thanks for joining. Lovely to see you. Yeah, we're talking about a douche. Yeah. An enema. Yeah. Same thing. Douche. Anal douche. I mean, you know, it depends which way you go, and it doesn't matter. But it was just like, I've never seen one before, one of those in a shower. I looked at it and I thought, well, I know what that is, you know, without even having to Google or read the comments. I'm like, I know what that is. Very obvious what that is. Right, so let's go back to the pub thing that Reform are going to do. That's what I was going to say. Pubs. That I was going to put up a poll. That was it. I was going to put up a poll. That was what I was going to do. Sorry, guys. I'm really losing it today. Kirsty, we're at thistles up the arse. Yeah. They used to give them to women after they had babies. Oh, really? What? Enemas, douches, or thistles? I think, though, you know, when you're having a baby, a lot of the time poop does come out, doesn't it? I have not had, unfortunately, I wasn't able to. But I have heard those stories, and, you know, it's natural. You are pushing. You are pushing. in that area. It's going to happen. You stole my joke. Who stole what joke? I hope it wasn't me. Was it Pete who stole your joke? I'm not sure. Right, I'm going to put this blooming poll up. Hang on a second, guys. Hang on a second, because I think it's very important that we start a poll. And I've forgotten what it was going to be on now. That's it. I've remembered now. Right, here we go. Very easy poll. Do you go to the pub weekly? You can answer yes or no. No, we've already had one no. I certainly don't. I don't really drink anymore, except on special occasions because of my tummy. And I don't really, don't miss it, to be honest. I've got apple juice today, much kinder on my tummy. That's nice. And to be honest, I can't stand sitting in them. I worked in one for a while and absolutely hated it. Didn't mind when it was quiet, but my God, when it was busy on Saturday nights and on New Year's Eve, it was a nightmare. You know, 5 deep at the bar and everybody shouting, and the regulars always wanted to be served first. So they're like looking at you from over the back, and just like, no, you've got to wait in line because there's a queue forming here. So yeah, the regulars would get pissed off, and then they'd buy us a drink. We'd ring up what we were going to have, and we'd obviously, that money would go into the till, and then we'd have to write it down in a book because we weren't allowed to drink on while we were working. Obviously, I mean, that makes perfect sense. So we'd go through our book at the end of the night and go, right, I'm having this and I'm having this and I'm having that. So yeah, mine was always Southern Comfort neat. That's pretty much, if I'm going to drink, that's what I'll drink. What got better than a thistle? Oh, the douches. Okay. I thought it was before birth, but having not done it, I don't know. Yes, Richie, it was you, and it was about women giving women thistles after childbirth. They're all full of racists and idiots. Pubs. Yeah. I don't know about the racist thing, but I would, I live in a village. The pub that I worked in was a village pub, although it was a very big village. In fact, as far as I know at the time, the last time I checked, it's the biggest village in England. Rosington in Doncaster, the pub, the Stirrup, which is now completely different to what it was when I worked there. First rule of pubs is regulars get served first. While I agree with you to a certain point, when it is New Year's Eve and you have got just a line of people stood in front of you, you are just going, you get, you sort of work with, everybody works in a little area, and it's really difficult. And then you get the ones that want like cocktails. Pints easy because you can just, put the pints on there and that's easy to do. Go to a pub, give it 5 minutes and someone will say something racist, blah, blah, probably, more than likely. And I wouldn't be able to sit there and not say anything either. I would just, I couldn't anymore. I think that I've got to the stage in life now where I just don't care if people say racist things now. I will just call them out on it because it is just absolute bollocks. I think that we've got to call people out on things like this. We have to call people out on things like that because otherwise they'll just carry on. And I know for blokes, it's probably a bit different and difficult because, you're more than likely going to get smacked. Women too. But yeah, I just can't stand it. I can't stand bigots. Can't stand bigots and racists. Agree with me on very busy nights. Yeah, you just don't have time to look at people. You do not have time to look at people. And what I used to hate. It's like you go, yes, please. And they go like, can I get 2 whiskies with ice and whatever. Right. Okay. What whiskey do you want? I'll have Bell's. Okay. So you pour that and you go back, say, ring it up and say, that's 10 quid. Can I have a port and lemon? Okay, you do that and then you get back, can I have this? And you think, why can't you just give me your order all at once? I'm not stupid. And that was mostly, I'm sorry to say this, men that would do that. And you'd think to yourself, you know, I'm working in a pub because I need the money, because I'd just moved back to the UK and I was trying to get a, you know, an office job, something within the career path that I'd already done. And you just think to yourself, you know, I'm able to remember more than one thing at a time. They fleece their tenants. Yes, they do. When people say something racist, I tell them I like spiders, totally throws them. I like that, Kirsty. Speaking of spiders, I was watching, I don't know if you guys know A Haunting. It's an old program. It's been around for years. There's loads of episodes. There's a Haunting channel on YouTube. And they do like double episodes. So you've got like 2 45-minute episodes back to back. And the one episode was set in Taiwan, sorry. And there was this giant spider. And the guy called it a tarantula. And I'm like, no, there are no tarantulas in Taiwan. Tarantulas come from South America, unless they are a pet. And it was a huntsman. But they don't bite. And this spider was making this noise. And I'm like, okay, I have had a baboon spider in my house before and a red Roman spider. Now, if you've never seen a red Roman spider, if you like spiders, go and have a look. If you do not like spiders, do not Google it. Do not have a look at it. They are horrendous. And red Romans are they're also a hunting spider, and they will cut your hair off to make their nests. They have those pincers at the front. Yeah, not nice spiders. All right, Witchy, don't run it in just because I forget what I'm doing between rooms. Hi, Mithril, thanks for joining. Lovely to see you. And I have still got the chat on top chat instead of live chat. I'm sorry, guys, if I've missed anybody. I do apologize. Secret code for I'm a raging racist lunatic. Oh, what? Oh, the spider thing. The spider thing. My pet peeve is when a racist starts a conversation with, I'm not racist, but yeah, that's a racist. That is a racist response. But I've got a black friend. And you may well be a misogynist, but you'll probably have a mother and a daughter and a female friend. Right, let's go back to this article that Deform are going to fix pubs. Now, the reason I asked the poll, if you haven't clicked on the poll yet, have a click on the poll, because I'm just interested to see how many of us go to pubs in a week, because I think a lot of the people that are on my channel are roughly the same age as me. I don't think we've got many youngsters in. Like I will go to, there's a pub in town that I will go to. They brew their own beer. It's actually a brewery. It's like, you know, a microbrewery, and they have live bands on. And the live bands are normally rock bands and that. So, you know, a lot of tribute bands, like there's a Metallica tribute band that plays there and stuff. And I'll go and watch them. But I don't drink because I drive. So, I can't drink fizzy drinks. So I just have water or J2O, which is ridiculously expensive. But as well, they ask if you could please pay by cash. Because they're such a small pub, has got a really good stage and a really decent sized dance floor and a really good sound system. And the DJ is not too bad because sometimes he plays decent music. But every time after the last band's finished, when they're closing, they play Cotton Eye Joe to try and get rid of people. I absolutely hate that song. It is just one of those songs that just, it's like that Crazy Frog song. I don't like that either. That used to drive me insane as well. Anyway, let's go back to the pubs. So I will go out if there's a band on, but sitting in a pub all afternoon, like I probably used to do 20 years ago, it's not going to happen now. And I think a lot of youngsters, a lot of the millennials, I think, still go out, but the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas, most of them are into their computer games and going to gym. I think a lot of them are into fitness. You know, I see, like, my niece and nephew, they go to the gym. They don't really go out. I mean, my nephew is not interested in drinking at all, and my niece will just have like mocktails. So yeah, I think there's a lot of the younger people of today are not interested in going to pubs. So I do think that pubs are dying out because of the change in people's lives and what people want to do. You know, we have all the evidence that drinking a huge amount of alcohol messes up the body in many, many different ways. Hang on a second. Sorry, I can't see the full comments there. Let me go back to the comments because I see interesting stuff going on here. If you are into creepy crawlies, I recommend you watch Kings of Pain. Two blokes creating a pain index get stung on purpose. Well, these spiders, huntsman spiders, very rarely bite you and they're not poisonous. So you might get a bit ill, but they're not going to kill you. My neighbour's spider bit him. He was out cold on the floor for 36 hours and it escaped. Oh my God. Turned up a couple of days later. Nobody in the block slept that night. What about pet snakes? Pet snakes. There we go. When I used to work for a courier company in South Africa in logistics, I used to have to phone around the branches every day at one point in my job. And they always knew it was me because I'd be typing really fast on my computer. They were giving me figures. This was before internet, you know, was like it is now. And we had to, you know, call them to find out, had they received all the parcels? Was there anything missing? Had they checked the belly of the rig? You know, was anything damaged? And so on and so on. Because the branches didn't have all the scanning equipment that was needed. You know, we had a big, massive super hub. You'll have seen them where the parcels go onto a conveyor belt, they go down chutes into the correct areas. But some of the smaller branches didn't have that kind of technology at that time. Anyway, there was one guy, Johan, his name was, and he lived in a small town called Bethlehem, which is in the Free State bordering on Natal, or KwaZulu-Natal, as it is now. And we were chatting one day when I was speaking to him, and he said, "You can't do any washing." I'm like, "Why?" He says, "Because there's a snake in my washing machine." I'm like, "Can't you get it out?" I said, "I'm not touching it." He said, "It's huge." And I remember driving when I was living at home. This was, you know, so probably about 5-6 years after we'd moved there. And long time ago in Bethlehem. But there were dirt roads where I lived in Benoni, and at that time in like this village that I was in, this one area called Crystal Park. And these dirt roads, it was very, very open. There was not a lot of housing there. There were lots of empty spaces. And one day I'm driving down this dirt road. I'm on my way out, and it's afternoon because I'm going to see friends first. And there's this snake doing this down the road. I'm like, I'm not driving over that, because you hear stories of them jumping up into the car and then coming through the vents. No. No. Freistaat, yeah, Kirsty, yeah. Yes, not my bag, Chris. I was watching Lindsay on the Devonian period, and the recreation of giant centipede had me climbing the walls. Yeah. Always check your shoes. Scorpions love them. Absolutely. And even now, I have 5 cats, and sometimes they like to put mice in them. Not so much now, but when they were younger, the kittens, when they were younger. Australia, the continent where everything is designed to inflict serious pain or death. Absolutely. Absolutely. Although the huntsman spiders, they do have them in Australia as well. They're not deadly. They will bite, but they're not deadly. You hear stories, but you think they're all made up. What of the spiders over there? No, I've got quite a few mates who lived in South Africa who now live in Australia, and I've never been. My niece went on holiday last year to Australia. And she says, yeah, there's lots of creepy crawlies there. Right, let's go back to the article from Reform. So, speaking during a live press conference on Face Twat this afternoon, 3rd of February, Farage said the proposals would apply across the hospitality industry rather than being limited to pubs alone. I suppose that's a good thing because the hospitality industry since COVID has dropped back a lot. You know, a lot of restaurants have closed, but then a lot of people don't go out so much anymore. We get Uber Eats, Just Eat, and all the other, you know, people watch series on Netflix and on Amazon Prime, and, you know, they're paying for those things. There's so many good series and movies on those channels. Why go out to eat unless it's a special occasion? You know, and the food that you're going to eat at a lot of pubs is crap anyway. The pub where I worked, the Stirrup, it was a chef. She, the woman who owned it, Julie, she used to do the cooking, and it was great. It was proper food. It was proper homemade food. But I can't stand going to these places like Ditherspoons. I can't. I was thrown out of Wetherspoons. I was pregnant at the time, and this was before I lost the baby. Sorry, trigger warning. And I was with a group of friends, and we were having a moot, a pagan moot. That's a meeting, a gathering where we all sit and talk about paganism and what we're going to do. And I ordered some chicken skewer thing, and it arrived, and the chicken was not cooked properly. And I called the waitress over and I said, look, I'm really sorry, but this chicken's not cooked properly, and I'm pregnant, and this, I just can't eat this. So she took it back and she brought me another one, and it was exactly the same. I said, look, I'm really sorry, but this is the second one you brought me, and it's still the same. And she said, well, I can't take it back again. You'll have to speak to the manager. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. So the manager didn't come over to me. No, this arsey bloke is stood at the bar, and I go up to him and I say, look, you know, this is the second dish that I've had, and it's still not cooked properly. And he's like, well, there's nothing I can do. I can't give you your money back. I said, but it's going to make me ill. I said, you know, that's going to make me ill. He said, no, well, he's not giving me my money back. And this was before the days when we used to take photographs so often on our phones of our food. So I said, okay, then. I took it back to the table, and he'd had his fingers all over it, you know. I said, I'll take it back to the table. So I went to take it back to the table to take a photo of it, to show how raw it was. And he came over, you're not taking that away. And I'm like, I've just paid for this. You won't give me a refund, so I'm putting it back at my table. And he knocked over, I'd ordered a water bottle, you know, a bottle of water. And he knocked that over, which knocked somebody else's drink over. And he said, you're pissed, get out of here. I'm like, I'm pregnant, I haven't had a drink. Well, you must leave. And I was shaking. Anyway, so I did leave. And then my partner at the time went back to the pub and got my money back. And then I wrote a letter to Wetherspoons, and they sent me a £15 gift voucher. Never used it. I sent it back. I was like, I don't want this. I'm not going into one of your pubs ever again. And I never have, and I never will. Right. So let's get back to this article, because otherwise I'm going to be here all night waffling on. He warned that the industry is on the edge of falling off a cliff. Social disaster. Farage said the plan was designed to address what he described as a social disaster caused by pub closures, particularly in small towns and villages. Certainly in small town, small village Britain, when pubs close, it is a social disaster for the community, he said. Is it? I come back to what I said earlier, like the younger generations are not really interested in going out to pubs. They'd rather play games. You know, they play games on, you know, headphones and stuff against each other. You know, they spend a fortune on the games, so why are they going to go out to a pub? The proposals build on reports that Reform would pledge a £3 billion package of tax measures for hospitality funded by reinstating the two-child benefit cap. So they're going to take away food from starving kids to make them poor, so that drunk old men can pay less for a pint and get more drunk and cost the NHS a lot more in various illnesses that are caused by alcohol consumptions. Don't get me wrong. You know, my dad was a very heavy drinker, and he ended up with kidney disease, heart disease, and eventually passed with liver cancer. And, you know, I remember seeing a program, it might have been on Channel 4, it's a good few years ago now, probably 15 years ago or so, and it was about liver transplants. And it was a woman, and she was an alcoholic, and she was like looking forward to getting her liver transplant. And she was asked, will you drink again? She said, oh yeah, I'm going to drink again. That person doesn't deserve a transplant, do they? You know? Farage confirmed the plan would include a 10% cut to beer duty, a reduction in hospitality VAT to 10%, and the gradual removal of business rates. So how are they going to make their money back then, the government? Because a lot of their money is made off of alcohol and business rates. You just think about it, VAT going down to 10% allied to a 10% cut in beer duty would be 40p off a pint of beer, he said. We go further with this with changes to regulation with the gradual phasing out of business rates. Within 2 to 3 years, these measures could take £1 off every pint, which begins to bring back some degree of competitiveness against the supermarkets. It's never going to work. Supermarkets have the monopoly. They have more cash. You know, they have more cash, and they can afford to mark down a litre bottle of Southern Comfort to 30 quid. Business rates abolished. Reform has said business rates would be abolished for pubs over a 4-year period, starting with high street venues and extending to all pubs by 2029 to 2030. Farage said the wider system of business rates had become a structural barrier to high street businesses. Business rates genuinely are a tax on the high street, he said. They are closing down businesses. So does this include other businesses as well, or is it just pubs? Farage also used the press conference to criticise proposals to lower the drink-drive limit, warning that changes could further harm pubs, particularly in rural areas. Well, okay, so he'd rather have people in car accidents and the possibility of people, you know, being unalived by a 1-ton vehicle. When I go out and I'm driving, I won't have just one drink. I won't. I just will not have one drink. I will just have a Coke or a, you know, J2O or a water. That's it. I am not going to have a drink. It's just my thing. I have seen too many people, I've lost too many people to drink driving. Speaking on drink driving limits, he said, leave well alone, there is not a problem with this. Well, yes, there is. There is actually evidence out there. I've not had a time to get that evidence, but there is evidence out there that shows that even with one drink, a person will drive more carelessly. And as well, you know, alcohol has a huge amount of sugar in it. It's going to affect different people in different ways, you know, size of the person, their metabolism, and so on. So, you know, Farage said proposals to reduce the limit would disproportionately affect rural communities where public transport options are limited. So improve the public transport? I don't know, just a suggestion. That's fine if you're living in London or Manchester or Birmingham, he said, but it ain't fine if you're living in the countryside. And who lives in the countryside? Mostly rich people, like him. When asked about the time frame for introducing the measures if reform were to enter government, Farage said changes would be prioritised early but enacted pragmatically. You can't do everything overnight, he said, but you have to try in the first 100 days to do as many practical, straightforward, relatively easy things. He added that the package would be included in an early budget. This would all be lumped into what would happen in a first budget. So the sensible answer is reasonably quickly. Farage also criticised rising employment and energy costs, arguing that higher national insurance contributions and energy bills had compounded pressure across hospitality. Okay, so national insurance was kept at a minimum, I believe, for years and years and years. And that national insurance goes towards those older people who are now pensioners. So by reducing national insurance when you come to retire, which is probably not going to happen for the vast majority of us because, you know, the amount that you get on state pension is so low that most people on state pension have to work and do other jobs to, you know, to survive. So reducing it will reduce the amount of money that you get when you're a pensioner. Watch him change his tune as he starts getting older. And energy bills. Well, why don't we switch to green energy, which would be so much cheaper, wouldn't it? Just saying. Rejecting suggestions that the proposals amounted to subsidy, Farage said tax reductions would be funded by welfare reform and would support private enterprise. Does he not realise that the majority of people who go into pubs are on welfare? Pensioners. Pensioners are the ones that go in during the day. You know, reducing taxation is not a subsidy, he said. What we're doing is reducing the welfare bill in order to create private enterprise jobs, wealth creation. Well, that's it. Make the country alcoholics, and then we'll take away the NHS and you will have to pay for your liver transplant or your diabetes or your kidneys or your whatever, you know. Alcohol causes so many problems in the body, not just those main organs, but also other parts of the body as well. He added that keeping hospitality businesses trading would also support the brewing sector. If we can keep more pubs open, it will be a social good for the United Kingdom. British Beer and Pub Association said, given the unique and treasured role pubs play in our community's culture and job market, we're pleased that political parties of all stripes are recognising the value of the local and want to ensure their success. This reminds me of the Pew Pew Association in, what's it, the GRA in America. You know, support weapons, support firearms, because it keeps that industry going. Now, I'm not saying that breweries should not get money. I'm not saying that as well either. One of my mates is a brewer. He makes mead. It's the best mead you will ever have. It is called, the company is called the Lancashire Mead Company. Chris or one of the others, if you can put a, bye Diz, thanks for joining. If you can put a National Rifle Association, that's it, NRI. I thought it was something like that. Thanks, guys. I've lost track now. If you can put a link, oh yeah, Lancashire Mead Company, if you can put a link up to them. And if anybody does buy from them, if you can, when you put your comments in, because there's a comment section, just put the Witchy Goth recommended you guys. They're not paying me, but I always buy my mead from them. I will never drink any other mead because it is delicious. Right. In Scotland, in my area, we name and shame DDs in the press. I think that should, oh, thank you so much, Chris C, for putting that up for me. I really appreciate it. I'm a member of a gun club, but I'm not rabid about it. Blah, blah. I had a Pew Pew in South Africa, a Taurus 38. You know, I have nothing against those kind of weapons. I miss mine sometimes, being a woman. I've had stuff happen to me when I lived there. Kirsty, if you're still watching, I don't know if you're still watching. Yeah, you are. But I've had stuff happen to me when I lived there, and it was necessary. I used to drive all over the country, and it's a big ass country, and there's a lot of roads. Well, there was then, with nothing, absolutely nothing for miles. Hi, Elle. Thanks for joining. Lovely to see you. You're late. Sorry, you don't have to apologise for being late. It doesn't matter. Get in the corner. Get in the corner. So, yeah, I just think that this policy is another one of those bait policies, they are targeting a certain sector of society, the gam-gams, because the gam-gams are the ones that you all said earlier on, until somebody starts spouting racist shit. And that's it. That's exactly it. Farage has hinted in the past that he would repeal the gun laws and allow people to own handguns again. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I do not want that to happen. It's bad enough that we have kniffy crime in schools, and you see these things of kids, and yeah, I don't think that is right at all. I think that when you think about Dunblane and what happened there, and yeah, I don't think it's right. Yeah, Oscar Pistorius, absolutely, Kirsty. The gam-gams have the ray-gams. Hi, L100 line saying I must not be late to Witchy's stream. Thanks, guys. Yeah, Oscar Pistorius, there's stuff happens. And yeah, just can you imagine the amount of relationships in abusive relationships where somebody would be unalived, whether it's male or female? So yeah, that's just 3 billion. 3 billion that could go towards the NHS. Just saying. Wouldn't it be better to have a healthy population? I'm not saying that pubs shouldn't exist. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, and what I see, is that the majority of today's people, younger generations who would have gone to pubs back when I was young, don't go to pubs anymore. They go to gyms. My niece and nephew go to gym every day. I used to have handguns, sport shooter, 357 Magnum plus 9mm till the ban. Dunblane is 10 miles from you. Friends had kids that got unalived. Oh, I'm so sorry, Pete. Say you had a 9mm. What was it? My dad had a CZ. Wasn't a famous tennis player a pupil at Dunblane at the time of the shooting? I do not know, because I wasn't living here at that time. But pubs and guns, what a great combo. Absolutely. Well, Kirsty, you used to go to the doors, I think you said. I always used to have to hand my gun in and put it in the safe. Yeah. Never was a fan of pubs and firearms. Hi, Joe. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. Andy Murray. Thank you, Mithril. Thank you. Thank you, Mithril, for telling us that. So, yeah, deform. A policy that will not help anyone, really, apart from publicans. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, Kirsty, I don't know if did you ever go to the doors on Marshall Street in Joburg rather than the one in Edenvale? I used to do. You started going to the one in Marshall Street, and down the road on Marshall Street, there was a great big rat painted on a building, and there was a thing where, like, if you stood outside in the morning, that people would pew that rat. It was a thing. It was like a christening thing. Yeah, you did. Stay a 9mm Austrian military one, 18 round mag. Nice. Doors may have had a few pew-pewings, but they would have happened outside, I think, not inside, because Steve, I don't know if you know Steve Fisher, Kirsty. He's a good mate of mine. He was one of the bouncers there. He had a James Bond gun. Was it a Browning? James Bond's gun? I was a kid. Every time Benfica won a championship, people would shoot their hunting rifles in the air. Paul Bergs. I know. It's like in Mexico, same thing. They shoot it up. And Walter PPK. Thank you. Blah blah. I couldn't remember, but he had one of them. Yeah, he had one of them. So if you have not already, big guy, really big guy, Kirsty, really big guy. If you have not already, there is a poll at the top of the chat. It's a question asking you, do you go to the pub once a week? And click yes or no. And not judging, doesn't show me names. So this is not judging. I'm just trying to get a feel for, the fact how many people do attend pubs and not. And if you would like to support the channel, the link for the Buy Me a Coffee is there at the top as well. So I wanted to come to Sarah Ferguson. Now, Regan Elite did a really good live stream earlier on. I did see most of it, not all of it. Chrissy or blah, blah, would you mind popping up a link to Regan's live stream from earlier? Because he shows a lot of footage, a lot of videos, a lot of reporting. He's really, I'm impressed with his stream this afternoon. Sorry, there's an advertisement for Temu across the top banner. And the image, I can't show you, but the image looks like an anus with a butt plug with a jewel on it. It's not, it's fingers holding an earring. But I'm like, yeah, okay. We're really talking about the anus today, aren't we? So, just after Epstein was released, I think it was 18, 19 months that he was in jail for PDF. She took Eugenie and Beatrice to visit him. Oh, thank you so much for putting that up, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it was his 100th episode today as well. So yeah, guys, if you don't already, check out Regan Elite's channel. He's really good. He does Good Morning at 11 a.m. and then he does a number of different live streams during the week in the evenings as well. You grab the morning episode, doesn't matter, leave them both there. It's perfectly fine. But yeah, Regan Elite's channel is really great, and he's got a Pengu, hasn't he? He's doing stuff for the and the duckies as well now, and I've got the hedgehog and Nessie. I know I'm not Scottish, but my brother-in-law is, and he's a Robertson. And when him and my sister got married, they had bagpipers, and he did wear his Robertson kilt and tie. And he's a good lad. He's a really good lad. So Andrew also sent photos of his daughters to Epstein after he was released from prison, the sick bastard. Yeah, the way Andrew was touching his daughter recently was really, I can't see, for some reason, this computer screen is wrong. I know fathers that are constantly kissing and hugging their daughters, but never that. Yeah. There was a video that I saw earlier on today as well. Yeah, the Andrew, formerly known as Prince. Yeah. These wealthy people are either extremely stupid or extremely untouchable. They're untouchable, Kirsty. They're untouchable. They are above all of us, and they will get away with all of this. Trumpty Dumpty has already gotten away with the grape that he committed. Didn't she unalive herself as well, I think? Because of that. I'm sure it was her. They get away with it. They do. I mean, you know, Andrew, I don't sweat. I have a problem. There's a part of me that wishes Queenie was still alive so she could slap him around the face, because it is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. There is no excuse for PDFs, none at all. It just blows my mind that there are so many men, I'm sorry to say this, but there are so many men out there that want girls who have just become legal. A lot of the content that I see around it is because they're easier to control. They want slaves. I'm not saying all men. I'm not saying all men. But all men can help women by calling this shit out. They really can. I was on a, sorry, I know that Graham's going live, isn't he? I've just had a notification for it. I just want to say this before I go, though. I had I'd commented on some post last week about the asylum seekers and them being blamed for all of the atrocities against women and girls, and that it's completely not true. And this guy made a comment on that. He was an RAF member, and I didn't delete the comments. I don't know, somebody must have done, wasn't me. I just left it. I'm like, I'm not interested. Anyway, he emailed me he messaged me today through Messenger. And he said, "Hello, my name. I replied to a comment you made concerning migrants. I explained everything to you. I know it wasn't very pleasant, but people like me have to deal with these people. These people. Do you know how sad and upsetting it is for someone to listen to their boasts? You have taken down your post." I didn't. "I wish you had left my reply up so others can see the reality of things." And then he says, "Bless you, Ron Taylor." That's his name, Ron Taylor. I didn't take down the post. Maybe someone else did. I have no idea what post you're referring to. And at the time when I said I didn't, because, you know, I do actually comment on quite a few posts to do with racism and misogyny, because I, you know, just can't stand that. I have no idea what post you're referring to, and I have no interest in having a conversation with you. Please leave me alone. And I thought that would be it. I thought, right. Anyway, then he sent me another message. I'm like, oh, for God's sake. So he said, "Thank you for your reply, but as you accused me of something, I have a right to defend myself. I spent 25 years of my life working with people who raped and groomed kids. I've sat through so many trials and seen what each of those victims faced. Do you not think that doesn't affect me as a human being? You know full well what post it was." I actually don't, and I don't know which page, group, whatever it was on either. If you haven't read it, I suggest you do. It may well enlighten you. May peace be with you. So I said, "You're a bully. I asked you to leave me alone and you haven't. I will tell you two things. One, I was raped by two men at two different times. So one man and another man. Both were white British men. My ex, who was a white British man, tried to throttle me. So you can go away and harass someone else." Anyway, I reported him for bullying and harassment and I blocked him. So he was trying to message me back and I could see the little dots going, and I just thought, no, I don't want to know. I don't. If, yeah, you've dealt with that and I understand that, but every woman, pretty much every woman in the world has experienced some form of sexualization by men. And then you look at people like this Epstein and all the other men that have been involved, Mandelson, thank God he stepped down from House of Lords, but he needs to have his title removed from him. He really does, because whether his is from a PDF nature or not, I don't think it is, but he was giving away secrets, and that's being a traitor. That's, yeah. It's disgusting. I've just noticed my mod spanner has changed to a shield. I didn't change it. I've not changed it. I wouldn't even bloody know how to, Chris C. You know me and technology. I'm really crap. Joe, I start reading those comments, and as soon as I see where they are going, I delete it and move on. Seldom I block them unless they continue to annoy me. Yeah, I don't normally block people. But if they do start on me directly, which somebody did the other day on about essay against women, which was a story that I did want to talk about, and I'm waiting for that report to come in on the Nottinghamshire Police website, because it was on the Workshop Guardian's page and I couldn't read it because they want £3.99 a month, and I'm not paying £3.99 a month to read. They're very badly spelled articles. So I went to the source, but the source didn't have it up yet. So it's obviously going to be up later. But I did find a few other reports about similar things. So he needs to have a nice civil service pension removed as well. Absolutely. Yes, you are still a mod, but I don't know where the shield is. What report is this? Which report, Chris? What have I waffled on about now? Is this the one that I'm talking about now with this article is from the Mirror? I know it's the Mirror, but a lot of the other stuff I can't read because it's behind paywalls. Let me copy and paste it into the chat. Sorry, guys. That's the one from the Mirror about Sarah Ferguson and the kids going to, going over to see Epstein after he was released. This is the problem when you have live streams. People think that you are a free target, stupid people. Yeah. Yeah, it's still a spanner on my screen as well, Pete. So I don't know where the shields come from. But you are number one, Chris. You are number one. You've got a crown for number one. This is the problem when you have live streams. Yeah. If I don't agree with someone, I do not watch the videos. I think it's simply stupid to try and annoy people unless they are flat earthers. In that case, it's rather amusing. I do try to comment on pages that are to do with Grape and SA and DV and SV. Is that what you were asking me about, Chris? It's a report from the Workshop Guardian, and the title is Ollerton Man sentenced for throttling girlfriend and pointy sharp sticking a man. So yeah, but it's like £3.99, and I'm not paying, because then they want 39 quid a month, and it's a local rag. So I'd rather go to the police sites rather than to the local rags. Some local rags are good, but there was one that was coming up that was for some other Chad something or other. I'm not bothering with that because that's probably not I don't want to read something that's maybe not factual. I'd rather go to the police site because that's fact. It's simulation plot change. The world isn't flat. We are on top of a tortoise, guys. I can't remember the whole layering that Terry Pratchett did because I only ever read one of his books. That was Weird Sisters. I did try and read Worksop, WORKSOP, no H. So let me see. Yeah, it had like 3 lines that I could read, and then it But basically, this guy is known locally in that area for being an abuser. And he was finally sentenced for almost unaliving his ex. It's that old, if I can't have you, nobody can. You know, the abuser's prayer. That's what they come up with. If I can't have you, nobody can. And yeah, and so people were commenting on there. In fact, I'll pull the link up actually on my Facebook page, because bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Oh, that's another one that I think it might be that actual post. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Here we go. So some of the comments on here were, it's on Facebook under the Worksop Guardian page. Some of the comments were from a man. Dave Rogers says, everyone needs a hobby, I suppose, spelt wrong. People seem to know who he is. I don't know him. Scott Lander says, sorry for my Scottish friends, but this guy says, it's Scott Lander, says, she was obviously a terrible listener. Yeah, that is misogyny. That is misogyny. And it infuriates me, because, you know, while it may be funny to some, it's actually not funny, because it is misogyny to portray women as never shutting up. Yeah. Right, guys, I'm going to head off because it is 11 minutes past 7. And hi, Andrea. Oh, bless you. Sorry for, oh, I love that. Hi, Witchy and Co. Then I love that. That's brilliant. Excellent. Yeah. I should call you guys my coven. Luke Williams. Yeah, that's it. Luke Williams. Yeah. It's going to have to, it'll probably show up on the Nottinghamshire Police website later on, but there's another guy that I've done a video of that I will be popping up online this week. Similar crime. That's the thing. For those of you who don't know, my channel, when I put up videos, is generally about SA, SV, DV, and grape that women endure. So, and feminism and misogyny. And then I also talk about people like Andrew Tate, Marilyn Manson, and Russell Brand, because they are, again, we come back to that famous people thing, that get away with it all, that just get away with it. And like, what the hell was Sarah Ferguson thinking, taking her kids over there to a guy who has been imprisoned and now released for SA, PDF against minors? Would any sane mother do something like that? Jokes without context and trust and intimacy are not correct. My intimate friends can mock my ethnicity, but not other people. Exactly, Joe. I mean, if I was in a relationship with somebody and that was within our relationship, that's fine. But I personally now would not find it acceptable. I would call it out, and I wouldn't date somebody who said something like that. Because it comes back to that. And I think that, again, this is, the younger generation is something completely different, you know, that is completely different. I'm going to be doing some videos on that in the future. But, you know, when we look at institutionalized misogyny, which is what it is, even women will find that joke funny. But it's not funny because it is actually denigrating women and saying, oh, you know, you women can't shut up, you're all the same. It's the same as saying, you know, if a woman is graped, what was she wearing? Was she drunk? She was asking for it. All of those things are misogyny. And it is never the woman's fault. Never. The SF thing baffles the shit out of me, but is maybe an insight to how these people really behave, even with their own kids. It's beyond disgusting. Yeah. What's the result of the poll? Yes, let's have a look at the poll before I head off. We have got, bear with me, guys. No, don't end poll. I want to see the results. People go to the pub weekly. We've got 15% who go to the pub weekly and 85% who don't go weekly. So thank you for voting on the poll, guys. Really, really appreciate it. The Coven gets my vote. Get it done, Debs. I will do. I will do. It just, yeah, Pete, it is disgusting. There's so many things like that that we don't think about on, yeah, I'm also in the 85%. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, there's so many jokes and things like that that we don't actually realize are that because it's been put into our society for so many hundreds of years. It's like the term, and I've used this before, and it's a phrase that I absolutely detest, rule of thumb. That phrase comes from a man was not allowed to hit his woman with a stick that was any wider than his thumb. So, yeah. We have nice cafes to sit down and have a nice espresso and pasta and the natter and on the weekend. Exactly, Joe. I much prefer going to a nice coffee shop that does really good coffee. I don't drink espresso, but I do like, I have a flat white pretty much, but I like good coffee. I am a bit of a coffee snob. I like strong coffee that's really fruity and with cream. I prefer cream in my coffee than milk. And a nice piece of homemade cake. Nothing better. Going on my own, sitting with a newspaper, something good, not something rubbish, or a magazine even, and just enjoying my day. There's one around the corner from me, and they've got an outside area for summertime, and it's really lovely, really, really lovely food. A little bit pricey, but you know what? It's better than going to a pub and getting wasted and spending 50 quid. I'm a coffee maniac. Oh, yes, thank you. If you are watching, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Those seem to be in positions of power or trust. Exactly, Chris C. And I said on Reagan elites, they'll get away with it because of that. Because of that power. The rich rule the world. It is, I think now, in this day and age, it is more obvious than at any other time. Besides back in Egyptian times when, you know, we had the pharaohs. But when we look now, the differences between the super poor and the super wealthy are terrifying. And also, Musk was mentioned in it, wasn't he? He's been mentioned in it. I don't know exactly what it has to do with him. I've really not had time today to read and follow videos and things about everything. But yeah, it is just sickening that these people get away with this shit. They shouldn't. They should be held accountable, because if it was you or I, we'd be in prison. We would be in prison. Right, I'm going to... Musk was begging to go to an Epstein party. Yeah, probably was. Right, I'm going to head off, guys, because I've got some strawberries and cream to have for my pudding. So I'll see how I feel tomorrow about doing Witchy Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure yet. So watch out for a notification, a thing, saying the witchy goth, you know. Thanks, Pete. Keep them coming. Love the shows. Highlight of your viewing with. Oh, bless you. Oh, Pete, that means so much to me. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Thank you, Pete. That really does mean so much to me. Be safe and blessed be to you as well, Mithril. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Joe, and thank you, Kirsty, and thank you, everybody else who joined tonight. Love you all lots. Blessed be. Mwah.